right, back at Toronto Motorsports Park with now, we're going in succession. We did the hard body before.
Yep.
Now we'll move on to the next car that you drifted, the 2JZ STI.
Yes.
Which wasn't always 2JZ
No.
powered. No. Anyways, we'll talk about that.
Close enough.
This car is actually technically owned by Nam. This is Nam's race car. I don't think he's ever driven it.
He's been in it.
He's been in it, but he's never actually driven it. This car's actually owned by Nam, the other part of NV Auto. And this is kind of where we got our start in drifting. We met up with Riley through CSCS at venues like Toronto Motorsports Park.
Yep.
And said, hey, we need to do some of this silliness. And here it is. So we're going to give you a rundown of, well, we can start now. It was EJ powered.
Yes.
EJ 207.
Yep.
I can't remember what turbo it had on it.
The SX300.
Oh, SX300, Borg Warner SX300, and it made roughly 500-ish horsepower.
And a power band about that wide.
Yes, Riley really enjoyed it because it was dead until it peaked, and then, anyways, that's how we ended up with this. So we did drift it. When I say we, Riley did drift it. Oh, I drove it that year too. Here, yeah.
TMP, Mosport,
yeah. MDU,
Detroit, and St. Eustache.
Oh, that is right.
The first debut ever was at St.
Formula
Eustache.
Drift Canada,
Yep.
EJ powered. Everybody's looking at us like we were crazy.
A little bit.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. On to the details on this car because everybody always has questions about it. Just like the hard body, everybody has questions about this car. So here we go. We'll run you down all the details.
The powerhouse. This is actually a powerhouse, unlike the other one. This basically stock 2J still, I believe. Like from here to the bottom is all factory OE 2J, different throttle body. We have a Garrett GTX
3584 RS.
Nice.
On there.
It's responsive. You know, this car makes, I think, 5 and change at the wheels ish.
I'd be lucky at that much.
Estimation.
But
Anyway, it's for what we're doing with it. It's perfect. It's responsive. It makes more than enough jam through the power band. Nice broad mid range. Makes the car really easy to drive, which is what you want in a drift car. You don't want this peaky mess, which is, like we said earlier with the EJ, made it very difficult. So this is a great power chain setup. All the fluid delivery and all the hoses, everything's all vibrant fittings, and they're cool clamping system, the Van Gen clamps, all the piping, everything's vibrant. We have an actual Subaru specific CSF radiator with a built-in oil cooler for a GD, which we made work with some, you know, little fiddling with some pipes and some customization here and there.
basically cut the rad support out and moved everything forward, and that is a OE fit GD rad with oil cooler built in.
Yes, and that's something we get asked a lot. And if you look back here, we did not chop a massive hole in the firewall. I see on the internet all the time people saying you gotta cut the firewall. You do not. Tranny tunnel a little bit, yes, but if you move the rad forward, there's more than enough space in here for a 2JZ.
We actually have a fair gap between the firewall.
You could get a fist in between the valve cover and the firewall.
Yeah.
Little fists, but still.
Angle up front. Everybody always asks about the angle.
Yes, so these are NV Auto custom made, revised many times. Lower control arms and extended tie rods, custom knuckles. That took many seasons of testing to get what works pretty good. There's still room for improvement, and we're still working on it in secret in our secret laboratory. But over what the factory Subaru steering is, it's a massive improvement, and the track width increase, which you can see when you look at the front of the car. The front is super planted. It gives you way more angle than a factory Subaru setup. The geometry is a little funky, but that's what we're working on. And it's still a pretty basic setup. It uses the same design as the factory Subaru arm, just basically extended and adjustable. Still the stock Subaru knuckles, just modified again. Everything is based off of the original stuff, just tweaked so it'll work for what we're doing with it.
Okay, now the most important question, Riley, is where's the hood?
The hood. So I got Farouked at GridLife in Atlanta, GridLife South. So coming through the smoke, a magic tire barrier appeared out of the smoke in front of me, and I drove straight into it at a pretty good speed. So the hood is, well, wrinkled up like an old piece of paper. So we're hoodless right now, but it gets to show off this beautiful power plant here and all the fab work and all the fun stuff. So it's not all bad.
Yeah. And for all you Subaru purists, this is an S204 bumper, and it's fully destroyed.
So, pretty standard race car stuff in here. Pair of Sparco seats, 6-point harnesses, really nice ASD handbrake. We have a Gforce 4-speed, as you can see by the knob, so a dog box. Still stock Subaru column, stock Subaru dash, just kind of has a switch panel and stuff. Just stripped out all the non-essential things, basically, and it's got wipers and lights and all that good stuff. Haltech dash. We're running the Haltech Elite ECU, and yeah, it's pretty much original Subaru for the most part, other than the cage and, you know, the seats. It's still factory pedals, factory column, factory everything in here. Painted by yours truly with a brush.
Yeah.
The wrong color blue. It's whatever Home Depot had.
There's the original FD certification for this car from 2014 or 15? I can't remember.
2014.
2014.
And it has many tech stickers littered throughout. It's seen a lot of events.
Actually, yeah, I got to get over my favorite tech sticker. Hang on. I got to show my favorite tech sticker. So we got, you know, your typical. There's CSCS. We'll jump down here, and there's FD Canada. And then CSCS 2015. That one's my favorite.
The sticker budget was...
Yeah, sticker budget wasn't there for that year. Yeah. But it's awesome. Actually, keep that door open. This car runs so low that the tire literally eats the insides of the doors.
Yeah, actually, that's a fun point to touch on. When you drive it long enough without opening the rear door, the rubber actually welds the door shut. There's so much rubber built up in this lip that you can't open the door without yanking on it, and then these big clumps of melted rubber fall out. So that's a fun fact about the STI.
All right, in the back.
All right, we're at the rear. This is the part you usually can't see because it's all covered in smoke. But for fuel, ATL well cell. Not a huge capacity. You don't really need one for drifting. Just enough to do a few runs back to back to back. Bosch 044 lift pump to a radium surge tank with dual Walbro E85 pumps. Lots of hoses, like a crazy spider of vibrant hoses and fittings all poking out of there, but that's what you need if you don't want any fuel starvation. And with the G-forces in the rear of this car constantly getting slung around, the fuel is sloshing all over the place. So this is like a must-have, or else you get massive fuel starvation and cuts out. It's no good. So other than that, it's all still Subaru sheet metal. That all is. Right.
I'm gonna have to call you out a little bit on that.
Some of it.
I'm gonna pan into this corner here. Hang on, let the color adjust here. If you notice, there's a lot of custom sheet metal work in this corner. And
yeah,
what was that from? Do you remember?
That was Sunset Speedway in just outside Barrie. I got a little too enthusiastic with the banking and went up kind of over the top of the bank into the wall backwards pretty good, and it crunched in the corner pretty significantly. Luckily we had our handy Honda Civic and a tow strap to pull the corner out and finish the event with it, and then you know, brought it back and kind of got the hammer collection out. But it's not that fancy. People think this car is like a crazy tube chassis race car, but it's really close to the stock thing. Other than the engine and some like transmission mount stuff, a lot of this is like original Subaru sheet metal. We need the earpieces. And we're back. One of those. I always wanted to do that. Anyway.
All right. A few things we got to talk about. Brakes. You talked about this fairly stock. What's the story of the brakes?
So the rear is two pairs of STI Brembos and modified OE Subaru knuckles. So it uses just like all kind of 04 STI stuff in the rear, the stock calipers and all that. And then the front, the Brembos are a little on the big side for kind of a drift application, and sometimes the caliper size can interfere with the steering. So we've gone to a little bit smaller than STI size Neo 4-piston caliper and their 2-piece rotor, which is also nice and light because the factory STI rotor is really heavy. So it just gives us a little more space, nice lightweight, small caliper, and way more than what you need for a drift car. So this thing will haul down in a hurry.
Good modulation on the left foot braking and all that.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. With the Brembos with the race pads were good, but very, very sensitive. So this gives you a little bit better modulation if you're trying to just dial in a little left foot braking without locking up the front tires.
All right, and the last point on the car we didn't talk about, we're back there, but everybody asks the
big
rear
question.
end.
Yes.
stock Subaru R180 with a Lincoln locker.
That's it.
It's welded.
Yeah.
We run drive shaft shop 1,000 horsepower axles. They last longer than the diffs last.
Yeah.
But the diff is it's like a 3 event kind of thing. We know at like 2.5, we got to probably change it out. But this year we're going to change that.
Yes.
I think we're going to.
Sure.
I think we're going to put like a 350 diff in it, or maybe an Aristo diff or something like that, and
Something
make
big.
it more robust. So when we go to events like GridLife, we're not chasing problems.
But for all you people asking out there, can the R180 handle the power? Yes, for a short period of time. So all you guys that are doing like a 300 horsepower car, realistically, I think an R180 will do it. When you have like 500 or 600, 700 horse with a big tire, it'll do it for, you know, an event or two. But just to silence all the haters out there.
All right, thanks for watching. Comment below, let us know what you think of the build. If you have any questions, Riley and or I will answer it for you. And, you know, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to have a lot more content coming out. That's it. TMP, December 20th. We're going
Last
drifting.
official day of fall. Tomorrow is winter, and look at this. It's not beautiful, but it's also not under a foot of snow. So
5 degrees Celsius.
yeah.